our friend here, Elle, gave us the context behind the head down, closed heart, animal in corner survival mode that isn't conducive to a well functioning power dynamic. And he explains that it's a lot of stress at work, okay? And when life gets tough like that. Okay, so as a man, I mean, ladies, entrepreneurs, I see you, I'm with you. But as a man, there's something built into good men, there's something built into noble men that you want to be a provider and you take honor in being a provider. And so if you are struggling at work, or maybe you're worried about getting let go or something, you're not only questioning your finances, but can I be that strong provider? Can I still be that noble, strong man that I want to be? And so, struggling at work is not just, oh, you had a bad day at work. It could be, but it could also be this man is getting hit from a deeply psychological place that he's not a good enough man. He's not a good enough provider. They might lose their home. They might, you know what I mean? Like there are so many factors here that I'm intuitively feeling that goes into this a lot of stress at work, because that puts him into a head down, closed heart, animal in corner survival mode. What he's describing here, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, you've heard me talk about the polyvagal ladder before. What he's describing is a shutdown state. What he's describing is a freeze state. What he's describing is hypoarousal. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with polyvagal theory, very, very simple. It's built like a ladder. In the middle portion of this ladder, that is where we feel safe and open and we can connect with others. That's where we want to stay. We're not triggered. We feel safe. We feel happy. We feel peaceful and grounded. We're open to connection. That's where intimacy can happen. When we're triggered and anxious and we're up here, that's called hyperarousal. We could get panic attacks up there. We can get super, super anxious, hypervigilant, where our mind is just like a tornado because we're trying to anticipate and protect ourselves from a threat, perceived threat. At the bottom of that ladder is a shutdown state or a freeze state or a numbed out state called hypoarousal. We have hyperarousal, then we have a hypoarousal. And in the middle is the nice, calm, peaceful, good grounded state that we want. What I'm seeing here is this man is going through so much at work, it puts him into that hypoarousal state. Head down, closed heart, animal in corner, survival mode. We're shut down, we're numbed, we're avoiding. So what I'm seeing here is that you're in a polyvagal shutdown state. You're in hypoarousal when you're stressed. And you're seeking safety, connection, and comfort to get you out of that freeze state. That's what I'm seeing. It's science, baby. But that's what I'm seeing is, Al, you get in such a numbed out, freezed state where you feel like you're purely in survival. You feel purely numbed out, which is probably why you don't give a shit. At that point, when you're in that state, when you're in hyperarousal, that's the state where you're like, fuck it, I don't care. You can tell me whatever the fuck you want. I'm not going to listen to it. I don't care anymore. When you get into the extreme, fuck you, fuck this, fuck them, I don't care, you're in a shutdown state. You're not being powerful. You're not being assertive. You're in a shutdown state. And so that's what I'm seeing here is I'm feeling like when you're in this shutdown state, you're seeking safety, connection, and comfort through the spanking to get you regulated again. Anyone saying that? Anyone picking up what I'm throwing down there? But if what I just said is true, oh, here it goes. If what I just said is true, then you requesting kink is just a Band-Aid. You requesting kink is just a Band-Aid when you really need an antibiotic. I know you hardcore players are like, she just said what? She has betrayed us all. But sometimes when you think you really need a scene, you really need to be loved. When you think you need it beat out of you, you really need a hug. When you think you need to go into an intense scene and be degraded and stop feeling human to get out of your head, maybe you need comfort and reassurance instead. Maybe a lot of times what we seek in kink is a band-aid, not the antidote. And this is not to say that BDSM is bad, that kink is wrong, but what if we got our needs fully filled in the way that we needed them to be filled? And then play was just icing on the cake. But I think right now we reverse it and we look to kink to be the source of what we need. We look to that scene to be the source of what we need. And that is why we have an epidemic of entitled submissives that are trying to control and trying to top from the bottom and view their dominance as a kink dispenser. I think a lot of times, I'm getting this now, like when submissives are operating in that sense of kink dispenser, right? That they look, they expect, they have this sense of entitlement. I think it can be entitlement. I absolutely think it can be entitlement. But what if it's just desperation? What if it's desperation of, I have need for connection that I don't know how to communicate or access. So the only thing that I know that can scratch this itch is a scene. But it's a band-aid, not the antibiotic that you actually need. And so if you're feeling stressed out, why don't you try something different? Have the spanking when you're not stressed. You know, why don't you try going, I'm stressed, I need a hug and validation and words of affirmation or encouragement. Those are just as valid as I need to be fucked, I need a scene, I need to be spanked. They're just as valid. And that doesn't make you vanilla. It makes you human with a normal functioning nervous system. Remember what I said about the middle state of the polyvagal zone? The middle state of the polyvagal ladder? What's in that zone? Connection, safety, peace, joy, intimacy, right? All those good feelings that we want to feel, right? That propel us into subspace, that propel us into dom space. That's when connection and intimacy is truly, truly possible. But if you are sick, right? Because let's just go with the Band-Aid and antibiotic analogy. If you are sick, or not even that, let's say you cut your thumb and you just put a Band-Aid on it, but it's still getting infected and now it's swelling up and your whole thumb is starting to hurt, right? If what you actually need to be healed, your thumb, is the antibiotic, but you keep putting a Band-Aid on it, is the thumb ever going to be healed? No. My point in saying this is, if you really need to feel safe and connected to someone safe, to get out of a shutdown state and into that open state again, then the Band-Aid is never going to do it. The Band-Aid might like get you up like couple rungs up the ladder. You might feel like, oh, my head is in the middle zone. My head, hi, I can at least communicate with you right now. But the next morning you go to work, you're going to go right back to it. You're going to go right back to it. And then the next day, can I have another cathartic spanking? Do you see what I'm saying? Sometimes it's brilliant and it's the perfect time to have a scene or a spank or a good fuck. That can be super cathartic. But if exactly, your head may be above water, but you're not out of the water. And so that's kind of what I'm referring to here. Connection and affection, it sounds like, is the key to an open heart and surrender for you here, Al. Sounds like the key here for you, Al, is love. Is love. And so that's what love does. Love is what opens our heart. Love is what gets us to surrender. And so I would say start there and advocate for that. And after you talk to your wife and you feel that connection, you feel like, wow, I'm not feeling like a trapped animal in survival mode anymore. Okay, I'm actually kind of like back in my right mind again. I'm feeling calm again. I'm feeling like I do give a shit again. Maybe that would be the place to go, okay, I think I'd like to play now. Can we have a scene? Because you got the antidote that you needed. You got the antibiotic. And so now, yeah, we still need the Band-Aid, right? It still needs to heal. I'm not saying don't do it with the Band-Aid, but what comes first?